True. Let's go to Karma Green, we steady on the rise. Digging truth from ancient scenes, we open blinded eyes. Rhyme sharp like pirates' lines, we break the bondage tight. Kamji speaking revolution, keep the fire burning. Chimpy drums guide our stride, we march with purpose proud. No more silence, we collide, our voices thunder loud. Politics and history, we stitch them in every verse. From Pharaoh's throne to Yaoundé streets, we claim the Kamji verse.
I want to take this time to talk about Mr. Clyde Winters. Clyde Winters is probably the only African-centered scholar that I'm aware of who openly claims the FBA title. And some of his work has been used a lot by many individuals who would advocate an Aboriginal identity, or an identity that Black Americans primarily descend from ancient American Aborigines. So we've spoken about how James Smalls is going to be removed from the Hidden Hairline Shop mural, and he's going to be replaced in the Hidden Hairline Shop Museum. None of his entries or representations will be maintained at the museum. And I wanted to talk about Clyde Winters, because Clyde Winters should actually replace, James Smalls. He's the perfect individual to replace James Smalls. Not only does Dr. Winters openly identify as FBA, but a lot of his research about the ethnogenesis of Black Americans actually aligns perfectly with what FBAs promote. Dr. Clyde Winters cites three primary groups when he's speaking about the origin of Black Americans: ancient Black Indians or ancient Black natives in the Americas who arrived first, according to the analysis of Clyde Winters. Geneticists would call this population Y. He cites the Moors who were expelled from Spain. And there's certain evidence. We've gone over, the presence of haplogroup H in Mexico, which is a North African haplogroup. So there is certain evidences of Moors being expelled and arriving into the Americas, genetic and documentary evidence. And then indigenous African slaves, right? Or enslaved Africans in the Americas. Right? Now, the conventional model would say that Black Americans predominantly descend from the latter, which is enslaved Africans. Now, after, the Moors were expelled from Spain, you're dealing with the 16th century, right? They got into a war with the Songhai people. And there are many different instances where these North African Amazigh mixed in with the Songhai people, or mixed in with the West African people. So there is some evidence that many of the enslaved Africans trafficked to the Americas had Amazigh or North African affinity. Robert Sepper, the racist, he's trying to prove that Mansa Musa was white because certain genetic studies have found this basal Eurasian or this Eurasian related ancestry in Mandinka, in Yoruba people, and certainly the Fulanis. So there's numerous West African groups where we could detect this sort of Eurasian ancestry, this basal Eurasian ancestry. Now, a lot of that, as we have discussed before, is from ancient Kemet. A lot of this ancestry, a lot of it is, just the connections between the Saharan populations and Nile Valley populations migrating across the continent back and forth. A lot of what you see as basal Eurasian is actually ancestral North African. And Clyde Winters has actually done a lot of work basically trying to show that a lot of the Eurasian haplotypes that we examine are actually rooted in Africa. So unlike many Paynos that's Pan-Africanist in name only, though I disagree with Clyde Winters on a lot of things, I'm not going to act as if he hasn't produced legitimate scholarship. I mean, he has rubbed shoulders with Shamarka Keita at the University of Manchester. And his primary, skill set and expertise is education and the formulation of education curricula. And one of his papers about Afro-Dravidians was accepted at, the Egypt in its African context conference. And this is very fascinating because a lot of Paynos, Pan-Africanist in name only, they want to copy Flinders Petrie. They want to promote the idea that ancient Kemet was mixed because they're embarrassed by what Europeans accept or don't accept. They don't want to have an African analysis that's independent of European eyes. So they want to fall in line with what's acceptable. And they think promoting a mixed Kemet is acceptable, even though they called themselves black ubiquitously throughout the text, throughout their civilization. So, when it comes to Clyde Winters, I think that Clyde Winters is a very, very good fit with the fecal brain assimilationist museum if they wanted to regain their legitimacy after removing James Smalls. Now, Clyde Winters being an elder, being a darker skinned man, being a plus size man, he doesn't necessarily fit the aesthetic that, Mr. Vincent Thomas would like at the museum. So there's not really a good selling point with respect to Clyde Winters. I could see him doing Khalid Muhammad. People try to say, oh, he's going to put Khalid Muhammad. But then again, Khalid Muhammad is a revolutionary Pan-Africanist. So that's not necessarily going to work. But, the scholarship of Clyde Winters appearing in Tariq's Moorish documentary, it's a perfect fit. What he brings to the table is a perfect fit. Now, looks aside, when I look at some of the evidence, some of the autosomal evidence linking the Patagonians to Andaman Islanders and Australian Aborigines, geneticists do propose a hypothetical population Y, a ghost population Y, in terms of fitting in a lot of the, inconsistencies that they may see within the ancient American genetic landscape. And they are willing to accept, as we've discussed numerous times before, when they see black-looking people in ancient America, they are willing to accept that these are Asian migrants that migrated across the Pacific Ocean to make it to the Americas before Columbus. But they are unwilling to accept that Africans crossed the Ethiopian Ocean, what Europeans call the Ethiopian Ocean or the African Ocean. They are unwilling to accept, these Americanists, they are unwilling to accept that Africans crossed the Atlantic, crossed the Ethiopian Ocean to make it to the Americas before Columbus. This is the hierarchy of disbelief that Tom Lynch, promoted, that, Murnau called out, and numerous others called out, even von Ruthenau himself. When he found these pre-Columbian artifacts, many of his colleagues said label it Negroid and not Negro, because if you label it Negroid, we could say that they're Melanesians or some Asians from the Pacific. So they want to say that this is genetic drift. They want to say that these are just Native Americans who happen to look exactly like black people, but they were not black people from the African continent. This is the type of propaganda that they're promoting. So again, there is evidence that, genetically, that population Y, this ghost population, that we don't necessarily have remains for, but we know that this population Y is autosomally linked to the Andaman Islanders and the Australian Aborigines, and this would be pre-12,000 years ago. Clyde Winters calls this the first frequency, and he's more so, wanting to promote the idea that Africans crossed into the Americas in the Paleolithic times, even as far back as 100,000 years ago, which is certainly plausible. But the thing about Clyde is he wants to extend this back into contemporary times and say that these black aboriginals were existing into, the modern epic, what we may call the Neolithic epic, or the recent prehistorical epic. And I don't see genetic evidence proving that. I see, population Y clearly being distinct from many of the later, so-called Beringian, Native Americans. And linguistically, there's certainly no evidence to show that link. So in my eyes, that's the part of Clyde Winters' analysis that I think is a stretch, to say the least. But again, if you're promoting the predominance of, the black Americans descending from indigenous Americans, you're basically promoting a population Y identity, and you're trying to substantiate population Y, which is a tough hill to climb. So ultimately, again, I think Clyde Winters would be a good replacement for Dr. James Smalls. I think if the fecal brain assimilationist of FBA, if Mr. Vincent Thomas is smart, he would move in the direction of Clyde Winters. But because of his aesthetic appearance, I don't think he will. Honestly, I would actually be surprised if he did. So we're just going to keep tabs on this, and I'm going to keep y'all updated. That's all I got for y'all on this. Hope to catch you on the next one. Peace.
True, let's go to Karma Green, we steady on the rise. Digging truth from ancient scenes, we open blinded eyes. Rhyme sharp like pirates' lines, we break the bondage tight. Kamji speaking revolution, keep the fire burning. Trumpet drums guide our stride, we march with purpose proud. No more silence, we collide, our voices thunder loud. Politics and history, we stitch them in every verse. From Pharaoh's throne to Yaoundé streets, we claim the Kamji verse.